I've never made a video about a politician before, but I've recently come across a lad, and that's who this video is about. His name is Zohran Mamdani, and he has absolutely rocked the New York political scene by beating Cuomo to win the Democratic Party nomination to run as a Democrat candidate in the mayoral election in New York City in November 2025. He has come from absolutely nowhere, and I have seen a lot of his stuff online. He's particularly good at online. That's part of his reason for his success. Zohran Mamdani, he's 33, he is a Muslim, he's a socialist, he's a democratic socialist, he's an immigrant or comes from an immigrant family. He's 33 years of age, he's come from absolutely nowhere to win the nomination for the Democratic Party for the mayoral election in New York City in November 2025. He's a remarkable character, very, very impressive. I've never made a video, as I said before, about a politician, but I'm making this video about this politician because, quite frankly, I think this guy is special. I think he's going to rock the political establishment. Okay, this guy has got under Donald Trump's skin, so that's big time in his favour as well. Trump is obviously actually concerned about him because the performance that he's pulled off in the New York mayoral primary, or the election amongst the Democrats, has been remarkable. But Trump recognises that this guy could be a serious contender for all sorts of things politically in the future. He's only 33. Trump has threatened to deport him, even though he's an American citizen. Trump has called him a communist and has threatened to ensure that New York City doesn't get the money, that funding it's supposed to get if he's elected, and so on and so forth. The hate that's pouring down on Zohran Mamdani from all sides, especially from Republicans, is remarkable. But it's remarkable in a way that shows you they're actually concerned, they're actually worried about him. His mother is a filmmaker. His father is a public intellectual. He's a lecturer or professor in Columbia University. Mamdani himself is an incredibly polished performer online, and his success so far to date in beating Cuomo in New York, and Cuomo had the backing of big money, big corporate, and had a tradition, family tradition, Italian community, and so on and so forth in New York. Mamdani came from nowhere to beat Cuomo, and Mamdani's performance online, on the likes of TikTok, for example, where he reaches so many people, on YouTube, through his videos, through his social media, but also in his interviews on TV, cable networks, and CNN and MSNBC, and everywhere else he gets to, where he's confronted and interviewed and so on. He's absolutely remarkable. He's a remarkable performer. I have not made a video before about a politician. This guy actually gives me hope. This guy gives me hope because I too have a sense of his principles, what he stands for, and so on and so forth. I don't buy into everything that he has advanced, but I am rooting for him big time, and I sincerely hope that he becomes the New York mayor in the mayoral election in November 2025. I'm going to show you some videos in this video, and you might form your own view as to how good he is, but I think this guy is a serious performer. One thing I would ask you to consider, he has the first video I'm going to show you is socialism explained in 1 minute, and if you think about it, Paul Murphy is a socialist, Richard Boyd Barrett are socialists. Just imagine them making a video like this video that you're about to watch. I'll show you some other videos here as well that I have watched over the last little while online. He is very slick online, but he is very slick in his interactions, in his interviews, in his communication. He is a superb communicator, and his campaign, as I say, in New York came from absolutely nowhere to shock the political establishment. And an awful lot of it was from, with the help of volunteers, going around New York to the 5 boroughs. I'm not that familiar with New York. I was in New York not too long ago, and I was seriously impressed. I loved it. I loved the vibe. Didn't think I would. Heard a lot about it, but I have a soft spot now for New York as a consequence. But Mamdani was talking about walking around the 5 boroughs, and I've seen the videos, and he walks around the 5 boroughs in New York, and he actually interviews people, and he interviews them as to why they voted for Trump, why they didn't vote Democrat in the presidential election, what they're concerned about, what are their concerns now, etc., etc. And he is remarkable insofar as he has a camera and he has a microphone, and he's actually listening to people. He's spending a huge amount of time listening to people, and people obviously have a sense of being listened to. And the polling figures, the voting figures, the amount of people, new people that he's got registered to vote for him, got them motivated and got them to the polling booth to vote for him, has been absolutely stunning. There is going to be an internal debate probably in the Democratic Party about whether they can actually embrace this guy, perhaps sooner, at some point, or somebody like him. In other words, a socialist. In other words, rather than trying to occupy the middle ground, go left. And maybe that's, the key. He's certainly left. He's a socialist. He makes no bones about that, but some of his policies include free buses. Well, what's wrong with free buses? He says that New York should own all the shops and so on. He has some unusual, some fairly radical, fairly left-wing views. But having said that, the alternative, what we've seen and what we are seeing, this guy is a breath of fresh air, and I'm rooting for this guy, Zohran Mamdani. Hope you liked the video. If you do, hit the thumbs up button down below and let me have your comments below. Thanks a lot.
I'm about to say something you've never heard a politician say. Please stop sending us money. Thanks to the close to 18,000 of you that have donated to our campaign, we've now raised the maximum amount of money we can spend in this race, $8 million. This means we have the money to be on TV, in your mailbox, on your phone. But there's one more place we need to be, your block. That's why I'm putting out the call to New Yorkers. Assemble! We want to create the single largest volunteer operation in New York City history, and we need your help. So join the more than 7,000 New Yorkers already knocking on doors and sign up to Canvas at zohranfornyc.com/events. Terrifying words. A lot of people are afraid of the word socialism, and a lot of people have misconceptions about what it means. I'm a democratic socialist, and what socialism means to me is a commitment to dignity, a state that provides whatever is necessary for its people to live a dignified life. So the typical big three that we talk about are housing, healthcare, education. But frankly, if you look around in the moment of this pandemic, we see how many more things are necessary to live with a dignified life. We need our internet because we have all of our kids staying at home doing remote learning. And if you don't have internet, you can't be taught, you can't learn. Whether it's childcare, whether it's public transportation, whether it's our utilities, whether it's our housing, whether it's our healthcare, these are not things that should be up for debate. Because we see what happens when we let the market be the sole determinant of the distribution of dignity. It picks and chooses people who can survive and people who can thrive. It is up to us here across New York to make it very clear that every single one of us deserves a shot, that an injury to one is an injury to all, that our future is built on the notion of solidarity. Verge of a victory that will resonate across the country and the world. Make no mistake, this victory will be historic, not just because of who I am, a Muslim immigrant and a proud democratic socialist, but for what we will do. Make this city affordable for everyone. Because after this rally, as many of us sleep, millions of our neighbors will step out onto moonlit streets across our city. Nurses working the night shift will put on their scrubs and save lives. Office buildings will be made new again as the midnight shift scrubs and polishes in the dark. And even more, New Yorkers will spend the entire night tirelessly working and return home carrying the burden that it still isn't enough. If New York truly is the city that never sleeps, we deserve a mayor who fights for those of us who labor at every single hour of the day. I will be that mayor. And I will be a mayor who doesn't bow down to corporate interests, doesn't take his orders from billionaires, and sure as hell doesn't let ICE steal our neighbors from their homes. There are no kings in America, whether that's Donald Trump, Andrew Cuomo, or the Republican billionaires who fund both of their campaigns. Because this is a campaign that is going to win on June 24th. And it's thanks to each and every one of you. On election night, after the polls have closed and the results have come in, we will go home. And as we close our eyes, the days of countless others will only be beginning. Doors in Jackson Heights and Parkchester and Bay Ridge and Soundview will open at midnight. New Yorkers will leave their homes and commute under streetlights to work, where they'll drive buses and mop floors and bake bread. For some, this will feel like any other night. But for so many more, it will feel like the dawn of a new day. Because we, my friends, are going to win the city we deserve. And it's going to be one we can afford. One where we can dream again. And for that, I must say, thank you. I know getting back on your feet after a long holiday weekend is tough, but here's some news that'll put some pep in your step. Like all campaigns, we hired a research firm to poll New Yorkers. What they just found? It's very exciting. Let's start with the headlines. We're now at 27% in the first round of ranked choice voting, firmly in second place behind Andrew Cuomo, with the next campaign in single digits. And in the final round, after every other candidate's been eliminated, it's us at 44% and Cuomo at 56%. That's a 12-point gap. In March, it was 40 points. And we've gotten here while a third of New Yorkers still haven't heard of us. That means we're nowhere near our ceiling. That's where you come in. Yes, we're going to have more rallies, more TV ads, more videos like this. And that's all thanks to your contributions. Just this past weekend, our volunteers passed 600,000 doors knocked. No one else is even in the same galaxy, let alone the same neighborhoods. With less than a month to go, we're going to win a city that New Yorkers can actually afford and send Andrew Cuomo back to the suburbs.
In New York City's mayoral primary, sending shockwaves through the Democratic Party, Zohran Mamdani was a little-known state lawmaker until recently. Now he's beaten nearly a dozen challengers, including former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, joined us now, and you spoke with Mamdani. Good morning.
I spoke to him just yesterday. Good morning to you all. He was a little-known state assemblyman until just a few weeks ago, but his victory in the Democratic primary for mayor did deliver shockwaves in a party that is struggling to define its message and a path forward. This morning, Zohran Mamdani calling for a new generation of leaders after delivering a stunning upset in New York City's Democratic primary for mayor.
And I think that there is a need for a new generation of leadership.
The self-described Democratic socialist skyrocketed past former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. His campaign laser focused on making New York more affordable, a strategy he tells me could be a blueprint for Democrats.
I think there's a question of how we return back to what made so many of us proud to be Democrats.
How do you do that?
And I think it's that focus on an economic agenda, on ensuring that people can do more than just struggle.
He campaigns on freezing rents, making buses free, and opening city-run supermarkets, telling voters he will pay for his agenda by raising taxes on wealthy and corporations. But that would certainly face major challenges getting approval in the state legislature. And this morning, he's also facing questions about his own experience at just 33 years old with only 5 years in the state assembly.
And the experience that I show in this moment is to be able to meet the crisis that New Yorkers are facing and deliver them a new kind of city, one that is unencumbered by the old ways.
In November, he'll face New York City Mayor Eric Adams.
He's a snake oil salesman. He will say and do anything to get elected.
Adams was indicted on corruption charges, which were later dismissed by the Trump administration. During our interview, the president going on the attack.
So President Trump just weighed in and called you a communist lunatic. What do you say to that?
You know, this is not the first time that President Trump is going to comment on myself.
The next mayor of New York City will have to work with the Trump administration. Are you willing to do that? Will you do that?
I will work with the Trump administration when it is to the benefit of New Yorkers. My approach will never be reflexive, whether in agreement or opposition, but if it comes at the expense of the New Yorkers that I'm running to serve, then no, I will not be working with the administration on harming the people that I look to represent.
So some Democrats are still trying to wrap their heads around his victory, embracing his enthusiasm, his energy, but maybe not backing his policies just yet. As for Andrew Cuomo, he is not out of the race just yet. He's now considering running as an independent in the general election. There'll be a Republican on the ballot as well, guys.
Not over yet.
Zohran Mamdani gives me hope in a world dominated by a convicted criminal in the White House, a man who is a sexual deviant, sociopathic narcissist and pathological liar. A charlatan who neither understands nor accepts the rule of law and the benefits of a rules-based system of international law for the benefit of all citizens, not just billionaire sponsors of Trump and his myriad schemes of grift. Thinly disguised channels of payola for the orange buffoon who lurches from one capricious, irrational decision to another, who is manifestly in over his head and is Vladimir Putin's sycophantic bitch, who congratulates the president of Liberia in the White House on his, quote, beautiful English, notwithstanding the official language of Liberia being English, who calls Mamdani a communist and threatens to run New York City if Mamdani is elected mayor in November 2025. Roll on, November 2025. Zohran Mamdani gives me hope.